Welcome to the Clique podcast. I'm Dani Watson, a mindset and manifestation expert and founder of the Clique, a company that helps women overcome their fears and limiting beliefs to create a life and business that they love. Within this podcast, I will help you get clear on what you want, identify the blocks that are holding you back, transform your mindset and raise your vibration so that you can co-create magic with the universe. If you are looking to design a life that truly sets your soul on fire and manifest more success and abundance, then you are in the right place. Hello ladies, and welcome to a brand new episode. Quick life update. I have been feeling really homesick recently. Most of you will know, me and my family, we moved to the south of Spain, Marbella, a few years ago. A decision that I most certainly do not regret. I love our life here. I love the home that we have. I love the fact that it's sunny. But I must say, there's something about September and kind of that, normally when it would start transitioning into autumn in the UK and it's still super warm here, that I start to really crave that autumn cozy feel, and I feel like I really, really miss it. It doesn't really start getting cool here until November, even October. You can still be by the beach, in the pool. And I feel like not having that change of the seasons really, really makes me miss the UK. It makes me miss like being in, the countryside and being in like the cozy house and having the fire lit and getting your winter snuggies on. So I have been probably not very good for the environment, but I've been cranking up the AC in our house to make it feel extra cold and just to have an excuse to wear something warm and cozy. And I know it's terrible for the environment. My husband is following me around, turning it off everywhere. But yeah, I'm just wanting it to feel a bit cold. And I've been lighting all of my sort of autumn candles that I've got. And I've been I love to watch vlogs from YouTubers, people that are based in the UK, because I feel that that's kind of my way to kind of get a glimpse into that cozy autumn feel that you get in the UK that you just don't get here. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on for me at the moment. But this episode, let's get into it, because I want to talk about unconditional self-love. I talk about self-love a lot, something that I could talk about all day, every day. It's something that's very close to my heart. But unconditional self-love, what do I mean by unconditional self-love? I mean loving yourself, even in the moments where you are not feeling amazing. Or maybe you've acted in a way that you're not proud of. Or maybe you're frustrated with yourself. Maybe you're getting angry with yourself. It's being able to fully love and accept yourself in the moments when you don't necessarily feel like you're winning at life. And these are actually the moments when you need self-love the most. It's very easy to love ourselves in those moments where it feels like everything in our life is going well. You feel good, you feel great about yourself, maybe you're looking your best, you're feeling your best, you're being really productive, you feel like you're getting lots of things done, maybe you're seeing certain successes in your life, your relationships are good. In those moments when we feel good, it's easy to have that sense of self-love. Maybe you've noticed this before, you feel that sense of pride, like, oh, I'm really doing this, like, I'm winning at life, like I'm on a roll right now, and we love ourselves. Now, that's wonderful, but what about the flip side? What about when everything feels like it's crashing around you? How do you love yourself in those moments? Now, it can often be the case that we actually berate ourselves, we criticize ourselves, we have that negative internal self-talk about what we've not done right, blaming ourselves for our circumstances, beating ourselves up, not having that sense of pride in who we are, and just kind of generally just not loving ourselves. And again, these are the moments where we actually need that compassion, self-compassion the most. So I want to dig into this a little bit more, because to really experience the highest form of self-love, which is this unconditional self-love, it means to be able to love ourselves regardless of what is going on in our life. regardless of how we've acted or not acted, regardless of our experiences, the success that we're seeing, how productive we've been, regardless of, whether you've exercised that week or not. Now, this unconditional self-love, it really actually starts with the acknowledgement of where you're lacking self-love in the first place. So let me explain what I mean here. Often we disregard how we're really feeling, and we perhaps ignore the signs that we're not loving ourselves enough. Or we perhaps know that lack of self-love is there, but we avoid confronting it. We disregard it. We kind of just sort of get on with life despite how we are feeling. Now, this was something that was pretty relevant to my situation when I recognized, I knew if I was being honest with myself, I was really lacking self-love. But something that was really important to me at the time was how I was perceived by other people. I was so overly reliant on the validation and acceptance of other people and wanting to be perceived as a certain way by other people. I disregarded my own lack of self-love. So what I mean by this was that I wanted to be perceived by other people as the confident one, the outgoing one, the one that had her life together, the one that just got on with things, was successful, was making something of her life. And for me to recognize that my worthiness was low, I wasn't loving myself, it almost felt like a weakness, something to be ashamed of. And, I did not want to be the object of people's pity party. I didn't want people to kind of think of me as this person that just really lacked confidence. Like, that wasn't who I wanted to be to other people. Even though, if I was being completely honest with myself, deep down, that was how I was feeling. I was really lacking in confidence. I was lacking in self-worth. I really wasn't loving myself. But I was completely ignoring this. I was pushing those feelings to one side. And what we are doing when we do this is we are rejecting a part of ourselves. We are rejecting the parts of ourselves that we don't necessarily feel proud of or we don't want other people to see. And as soon as we start to reject a part of ourselves, we can never fully love ourselves. Because, we can't just love the parts that we're proud of. I love myself because I'm this super confident person today. Or I love myself because I'm being really productive and really successful. We can't honestly say that we truly love ourselves if there's parts of ourselves that we are rejecting. And so actually this unconditional self-love means to first of all accept where you are not actually loving yourself in the first place. Accepting that lack of self-worth and not just disregarding it or ignoring it completely. Now, one of the ways in which I would do this would be to make myself be really busy all of the time. I would try and fill as much of my day as possible with my to-do list, with things that I needed to do. I was constantly rushing around everywhere, and I was almost using the busyness as a way to distract myself from what it was that I was feeling. In the moments where I was not rushing around being busy, my other distraction tactic was to zone out. So I would binge watch Netflix shows. I would often drink a lot of wine to kind of help numb myself out as well. Or I'd perhaps be over-exercising, or I'd be eating a lot of things that I shouldn't really be eating, unhealthy food. So I had all of these distraction tactics. It was no wonder then that my self-worth and my ability to love myself was at an all-time low, because I was just really avoiding feeling what I was feeling. I was rejecting that part of me. I didn't want to acknowledge or accept that there was a part of me that was actually feeling really bad. And we can label this toxic positivity, because I was, religiously trying to affirm to myself every day, like, my life is great. I love my life. I'm super successful. I, love myself. Yet below the surface, there was a disconnect. And below the surface, if I was being super honest with myself, there was a big part of me that did not feel worthy, did not truly love myself. And so to really start fully loving ourselves, it's to first accept where we are not, and to be really transparent and honest with yourself about what it is that you're really feeling, being compassionate with what it is that you're really feeling, not denying the part of you that feels terrible, that feels rubbish. Something that I got really afraid of when I discovered the law of attraction was this idea of, well, if I'm thinking negatively about myself or negatively about my life, I'm therefore going to start manifesting negative things. If I focus on my lack of self-love, my lack of self-worth, I'm in that negative space, that negative vibration, and I'm going to become a magnet to more negative things. And yes, our energy attracts like things into our life. So if we're vibrating at a certain energy, a certain frequency, we're going to become a magnet to things that are also vibrating at that frequency. And that I know to be true. However, we cannot trick the system. So let's say you're trying to, say these affirmations every day of I love myself, I love my life, I love how wealthy I am. You can be saying those things, but if you don't feel them on an energetic level, they're not actually going to work for you. And this is why things like affirmations can be powerful, but equally, I know lots of people who have used affirmations and they've not seen success with them. And it's because they're really ignoring the reality of what is going on below the surface. And that is that they don't feel worthy. They don't feel like they're loving themselves. It's okay to admit out loud that you don't love yourself fully or you don't feel fully worthy. And it's not necessarily going to have a negative effect on your manifestation. In fact, it can have a very empowering effect because the way in which we heal is to actually shine a light on the parts of us that need healing. So when we ignore those parts, we're kind of like sticking a band-aid on them, and actually they need air, they need attention, they need sunlight. And so by actually shining a light on the wound, that is how it heals. And this is what we're doing by just acknowledging and accepting and being compassionate about where we are actually at right now. So this is something that you can do today, perhaps. Take a moment and ask yourself honestly, how do I truly feel about myself right now? And try and ask yourself this question regardless of external results. So we're not basing this on the things that you've achieved, the things that you've done, maybe the success that you've seen or the relationship that you've created. We're trying to see how you actually feel about yourself if you were to strip all of that back. Okay, so again, this is about unconditional self-love. Not the love you feel about yourself because of, how proud you are because of all of these external achievements. Unconditional self-love is to peel back everything. And then when you are left just with you, your personality, your energy, your thoughts, do you truly love yourself in those moments? And if you don't, that's fine. But it's a case of actually acknowledging that and being compassionate with the part of you that doesn't feel worthy, rather than rejecting that part of you. Now, whilst you're doing this, spend a few moments as well to just acknowledge how you are actually feeling. Taking a moment to actually tune in and say, how do I feel really? Without relying on my successes or things that are external to me to make me feel a certain way. Again, if I was to strip all of those things back, how would I really feel in that moment? So maybe you feel great today, but you feel great because, you've, just signed a new client into your business, or, somebody has invited you to an event that you're really excited to go to. Those things can make us feel good, but again, that's not true self-love. True self-love, unconditional self-love, is to love ourselves regardless of what is going on in our external environment. So again, thinking about if we were to strip everything away, everything that you owe, every relationship that you have, that you're perhaps getting your validation through, all of your successes, all of your work, if we were to strip all of that back, take a moment to think right now how you would actually feel about yourself. And then give yourself a few moments to lean into whatever it is that you are feeling. Remember, the negative emotions that we feel are as much of a part of us as our positive ones. And if we are to reject, deny, suppress those negative emotions, we are rejecting a part of ourselves. We cannot ever fully love ourselves unconditionally when there is a part of us that we are rejecting. Your emotions, even the negative ones, are there in a way to serve you. It may not feel like it, but there's a purpose for the negative emotions. They're there to protect you, they're there to keep you safe, they're there to help you get clearer on what you do want. Remember, we can't really know what joy is unless we know what pain is. We need that contrast in life. They're a guidance system to help us navigate through life and help us to figure out what path that we should be on. So we don't want to ignore the signs that our emotions are telling us. They're a part of us. And again, if we cut off that part, we cut off ourselves, a part of who we are, we cannot unconditionally love ourselves. Now, the other part to this is recognizing when you are practicing self-love, when you're being, kind to yourself, when you are speaking words of kindness and compassion to yourself. What are the circumstances in which you're doing that? Now, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's really easy to praise ourselves, to love ourselves in the moments when it feels like we are winning at life. One of the ways that we do this is we celebrate our achievements. I did something that I'm really proud of. I ran a marathon. I made this amount of money. I organized this event. I hit this certain milestone within my business. So easy to celebrate ourselves in those moments. But if we are relying on those moments to celebrate ourselves, the self-love is conditional. We're saying, I have to prove myself worthy of my own love before I will give myself praise. So what I invite you to start doing is to start celebrating yourself on the days where you do not feel like you are worthy of celebrating at all. The days when you don't feel like you've done anything to be proud of. The days when you're feeling your lowest. And again, on those days, stripping away everything that's external to you, can you remind yourself of the things that you love about yourself that are a part of you, they're within you. They're always going to be within you, no matter what is going on in your external environment. So maybe it's certain qualities about your personality. Maybe it's just certain traits about you that are, perhaps they've been within you for a very long time, as long as you know. Those are the things that we need to start celebrating more. And those are the things that are going to help us create this unconditional self-love. Now, as a reminder, if you haven't done so yet, we have given you the opportunity to actually trial the Clique Academy. So the Clique Academy is our ICF accredited professional Master Life Coach certification. It also includes comprehensive business mentorship to help you build a thriving, successful online coaching business. Now, if you would like to take the opportunity to try that program for free, you can actually register for a free trial by going to thecliqueacademy.com/free trial. I will link it all in the show notes as well. thecliqueacademy.com/free trial. Make the most of that opportunity, and I will catch you ladies in the next episode.